Welcome to This Explainer. Let's set the stage for a truly epic chronological journey today. We're going to zoom way out and trace the entire arc of our earliest ancestors right up to the spectacular dawn of civilization. It's a massive story spanning millions of years, but don't worry, we've got it perfectly structured for you.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today's massive zoom out. We'll start by defining prehistory, then track our biological evolution, march through the three Stone Ages, witness the monumental shift to settled farming, explore some early South Asian sites, and finally arrive at the grand Bronze Age river civilizations. Let's get to it.
Section 1. Prehistory versus recorded history. The boundary of writing.
Now, what's really interesting here is the sheer scale of time we're talking about. Think about every king, every war, every empire you've ever studied. All of that, it fits into a tiny 1% slice of the human timeline. Seriously, if human history were a 24-hour clock, recorded history wouldn't even start until the final few minutes. A staggering 99% of our ancestors' existence, surviving, inventing, exploring, happened completely undocumented by writing. It's wild to think about.
So you might be wondering, how do we actually know anything about that 99%? Well, it all comes down to artifacts. We're talking stone tools, bones, fragments of pottery, their actual thoughts, their names, the exact dates, entirely unknown to us. But the invention of writing, roughly 5,000 years ago, changes everything. It's the absolute crucial dividing line that allows us to finally track specific dates, specific rulers, and actual events through inscriptions and manuscripts rather than just digging up silent stone tools. Writing literally turned the lights on for historians.
Section 2. The biological evolution of humans over millions of years. Think of this like a giant puzzle where every biological stepping stone basically solved a massive survival problem. Millions of years ago in Africa, the Australopithecines became the very first to stand up and walk on two legs, which completely freed up their hands. This allowed Homo habilis, literally the handyman, to become our first tool rakers. Fast forward a bit, and we get Homo erectus, the upright human. Now, these ancestors mastered two massive game changers, hand axes and the control of fire. They were also the first to migrate out of Africa. And finally, about 300,000 years ago, Homo sapiens, wise humans, evolved in Africa. That's us, modern humans equipped with a brain capable of taking over the globe. Section 3. The Three Stone Ages, and how early humans started shaping their world. Now, I want to teach you a quick memory trick to lock in this complex sequence. Just remember PMN. Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic. Old, Middle, and New. Keep that little sequence in your head as we break down exactly what happened in each phase. It's the absolute easiest way to remember how this all went down. Let's look at the incredibly rapid technological acceleration across these three ages. First up, the Paleolithic or Old Stone Age. This is your classic era of hunting and gathering, seeking shelter in caves, and using super basic tools like hand axes. Then, the climate starts to warm up, and we enter the Mesolithic, the Middle Stone Age. Humans adapt by creating microliths, which are basically tiny, much sharper stone tools. They start fishing, they paint in caves, and we actually see the first real population explosion. Finally, the big one, the Neolithic, or New Stone Age. This is where everything shifts. We get polished tools, the invention of pottery, and most importantly, agriculture, the domestication of animals, and settling down into permanent villages. Complete game changer.
Which brings us to Section 4, the shift to settled farming, also known as the Neolithic Revolution.
So the crucial point is that the Neolithic Revolution was this monumental shift from a life of constant wandering to a life of farming and permanent settlement. Honestly, it is not an exaggeration to say that this specific shift changed the entire trajectory of human history forever. Once we figured out how to plant seeds and tame animals, there was absolutely no going back. This shift triggered an unstoppable chain reaction. Think about it. You move from hunting and gathering to farming, which suddenly yields surplus food. You literally have more food than you strictly need to survive just for today. That surplus means not everyone has to hunt or farm anymore, so populations grow, people settle in permanent villages, and jobs begin to specialize. Suddenly you get potters, weavers, and builders. Villages start trading with each other, they grow into towns, and eventually, this very chain reaction births full-blown civilization. Extra food literally built the modern world as we know it.
Section 5. Let's zoom in on early South Asian sites for some concrete evidence of this settled life.
Take the incredible UNESCO World Heritage Site of Bhimbetka in Madhya Pradesh. These remarkably preserved cave paintings give us a direct visual window into Mesolithic life. Thousands of years ago, early humans sat in these exact rock shelters, escaping the elements, and decided to record their hunts and daily lives on the rock face for us to find millennia later. How cool is that?
And then we have Mehrgarh, located near the Bolan River in modern-day Pakistan. This site is widely considered the absolute cradle of agriculture in South Asia, dating all the way back to around 7000 BCE. This wasn't just some temporary camp. It was a fully functioning Neolithic farming village. They grew wheat and barley, built granaries to store all that precious surplus food we just talked about, and domesticated sheep, goats, and cattle. The farming practices perfected right here ultimately laid the crucial foundation for the massive Harappan civilization that would eventually follow.
Let's move to and see how this builds into Section 6, Bronze Age river civilizations and the rise of river valley empires.
Just picture the sheer scale of the Mesopotamian ziggurat and the iconic Egyptian pyramids. This is what humanity achieved once they fully mastered river valley agriculture. Once you have a massive, stable food supply from a flooding river, you can organize tens of thousands of people to build architectural wonders that still leave us in total awe today. It's just mind-blowing.
When we look at the big picture of the Bronze Age, we see four distinct giants: the Harappan, the Mesopotamian, the Egyptian, and the Chinese civilizations. Now, they all had unique writing systems and monumental architecture, like the Great Bath for the Harappans or the Great Wall for the Chinese, but despite their cultural differences, they all share one absolute foundational trait: a reliance on rivers. The Indus, the Tigris and Euphrates, the Nile, and the Huanghe provided the fertile soil for that vital food surplus, plus the natural trade routes that made their incredible existence even possible. No rivers, no empires. All right, let's tie 3 million years of progress into one epic, unbroken chain reaction. We start in Africa. Homo erectus makes stone tools and masters standing upright. This tech allows for global migration. Eventually, we figure out farming, which creates a massive surplus of food. That surplus means we can build permanent villages. Villages grow, specialize, and combine into massive civilizations. Civilizations need a way to track all their crops and taxes, so what do? They invent writing. And the second they start writing things down, we officially cross the line from prehistory into recorded history. Boom! So we've seen how a single technological shift, moving from hunting to farming during the Neolithic Revolution, completely sparked the first civilizations and fundamentally altered the destiny of our species. We are quite literally still riding the wave of that revolution today. So looking forward, I want to leave you with this. If that was the spark for the ancient world, what will be the next massive history-altering leap in human evolution? Thanks for exploring this incredible timeline with me today. Keep asking big questions, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.